Grandma always seemed to have all the answers in the kitchen, whipping up the tastiest meals from basic ingredients and making the most of every scrap of food. Her tricks weren't about fancy equipment or hard to find spices. They focused on simple, time tested methods that helped families save money, reduce waste, and get creative. Today, those same ideas resonate more than ever, blending classic wisdom with modern know how to tackle everything from budget friendly cooking to eco conscious meal prep. Whether it's making homemade yogurt in a slow cooker, churning out your own flavored salts, or discovering unexpected uses for leftovers, these grandma-inspired hacks show us how to work smarter, not harder. Number 1. The mason jar salad. Many people associate mason jars with grandma's pantry, where she might have stored homemade jams or pickles. Today, there's a twist to that old concept, layering an entire salad in a mason jar for a quick, portable meal. The idea is to add heavier, moisture-rich ingredients like dressing, tomatoes, or cucumbers at the bottom, followed by lighter items such as grains, proteins, and greens on top. This keeps the lettuce from wilting because the dressing and juicy veggies don't touch it until you're ready to eat. Recent meal prep articles show a surge in popularity for this hack, as it helps busy individuals plan lunches for the entire week. Some nutrition blogs highlight that prepping salads ahead of time can lead to healthier eating habits, since you're less likely to grab junk food on a hectic day. You can customize the layers with chickpeas, grilled chicken, or quinoa, and the jar format preserves freshness better than a standard plastic container. It's a simple trick grounded in Grandma's method of neat storage, but brought into the modern era, complete with Instagram-worthy visuals and efficient meal planning strategies. This approach is also budget-friendly, since prepping in advance often cuts down on last-minute takeout spending. Whenever you're ready to eat, just shake the jar or dump the contents into a bowl, and you've got a crisp, flavorful salad that travels well for work or weekend errands. Number 2, the reverse sear trick. Back in the day, Grandma might have told you to cook a large roast at a high temperature first to seal in juices. But modern cooking tests have shown that the reverse sear method often yields a more evenly cooked piece of meat. The logic is to start roasting at a lower temperature until your meat, be it steak, roast beef, or pork loin, is nearly at the desired internal doneness. After that, you remove it, let it rest briefly, and then finish with a high-heat sear in a hot pan or oven to lock in flavors and create a nice crust. Popular food science experiments demonstrate that this approach allows heat to penetrate more gently, reducing the risk of an overcooked outside and an undercooked center. Some experts on culinary forums say this method can also create a more consistent pink or medium rare edge to edge, rather than the gradient effect you often see with traditional searing first. Many home cooks find that it's easier to monitor internal temperature this way, especially if you have a digital meat thermometer. The result is a juicier, tender piece of meat, which aligns with Grandma's mantra of not wasting a single bite. Current grilling trends suggest the reverse sear approach for thick cuts of steak, because it ensures you're not charring the outside while waiting for the center to reach the right temperature. Plus, the final sear produces that crave-worthy caramelization, giving you the best of both worlds. It's a modern upgrade to a beloved comfort food approach. Number 3, banana peel stock. We all know Grandma's rule about using up every scrap of food, but banana peels might be where you draw the line. Surprisingly, culinary innovators have started boiling banana peels into a mild stock that can be used in soups and stews. It's part of a broader zero-waste movement that's sweeping through foodie circles. The peel contains nutrients like magnesium and potassium, though you'll want to scrub them thoroughly if they're not organic. Some enthusiasts blend banana peel stock with other vegetable scraps to balance out the slightly bitter taste. It's not as bizarre as it sounds. Consider how many fruit and vegetable skins we toss out daily, only to realize they hold valuable flavor and vitamins. Chefs on eco-conscious forums also talk about drying banana peels and grinding them into a powder for smoothies. But the stock method might be simpler for those just dipping their toes into waste-free cooking. The trick is to add aromatics like onions, garlic, or herbs, so the resulting liquid has depth. You can freeze banana peels throughout the week and then whip up a batch of stock on the weekend, storing it in ice cube trays for easy portioning. Grandma likely would have approved of any method that stretches ingredients further, especially if it saves money. Some health blogs even suggest banana peel recipes for vegan pulled pork-style sandwiches, but the stock route is a more neutral approach that quietly boosts the nutritional profile of your soups and gravies. Number 4, DIY yogurt in the slow cooker. Yogurt making might sound complicated, but Grandma's generation often fermented their own dairy products at home. A modern interpretation is using your slow cooker to do the heavy lifting. You heat milk in the cooker, let it cool slightly, then stir in a small amount of store-bought yogurt or a starter culture. After keeping the mixture warm for several hours, you wake up to a batch of creamy homemade yogurt. Health experts note that homemade yogurt can have a higher concentration of beneficial probiotics as you control the fermentation time and temperature. Many home cooks have posted their success stories online, praising the cost savings of making large batches compared to buying small cups from the store. You can customize sweetness, thickness, and flavor. Some prefer a Tangier yogurt, others add honey or fruit puree afterward. If you want a Greek-style thickness, strain the finished yogurt through cheesecloth for a few hours. It's a technique that hasn't changed much since Grandma's day. Just the appliances are more convenient. By eliminating plastic cups and extra packaging, this approach is also more sustainable, aligning with today's eco-friendly trend. Grandma always taught us that patience in the kitchen yields the best flavors, and yogurt making is a prime example. Let the slow cooker run overnight, and you'll have a fresh, healthy breakfast in the morning without too much fuss. Number 5, salt-curing citrus zest. Sometimes you only need lemon zest, and you're left with the rest of the fruit. Grandma might have turned leftover peels into candied citrus rinds, but a modern spin is to salt-cure the zest for an intense flavor boost that can be sprinkled on just about anything. Start by finely grating your citrus peel, lemon, lime, or orange. Then mix it with an equal amount of coarse salt. Spread the mixture out on a plate or tray to air dry, or speed up the process by putting it in a low-temperature oven. Once it's dry, store it in a small jar. According to food preservation enthusiasts, this mixture can last several months without losing its zestiness. You can sprinkle it on grilled fish, roasted veggies, or even use it in salad dressings. The salt helps preserve the bright, tangy punch of the peel while also adding savory depth to your dishes. Some cooks on gourmet forums point out that salt-cured lemon peel is a staple in Mediterranean and North African cuisines, so you're basically channeling centuries of culinary tradition. This hack not only reduces waste, but also gives you a shelf-stable ingredient that transforms simple meals into something a bit more sophisticated. Grandma's philosophy often revolved around capturing every ounce of flavor before letting anything go to waste. And this technique does exactly that in a very compact form. Number 6, rice paper dumplings. While Grandma may not have used rice paper wrappers back in the day, she did know how to repurpose leftovers into tasty snacks. These days, a trending hack involves filling rice paper with leftover veggies, meats, or even scrambled eggs, then pan frying to create crispy dumplings. Modern cooking bloggers discovered that rice paper, typically used for fresh spring rolls, can get super crispy in a hot pan. You soak the wrapper briefly in water, place your filling in the center, fold it up, and fry in a little oil until golden brown. It's a brilliant way to use up small amounts of leftover stir-fry, shredded chicken, or sautéed mushrooms. You can dip your homemade dumplings in soy sauce or a tangy vinegar mixture for a quick appetizer or light lunch. Food influencers on social media have been raving about how easy and versatile this hack is, as you don't need special dough or complicated folding skills like traditional dumplings. The results are reminiscent of crispy spring rolls, but with a simpler technique. Grandma loved convenience, especially if it meant stretching last night's dinner into a new meal. This approach takes that concept and pairs it with a globally inspired flair, which resonates with modern tastes seeking quick but flavorful bites. Number 7, the ice bath for onions. Chopping onions releases those strong sulfur compounds that make your eyes water, but Grandma had a solution for the harsh taste they sometimes impart: an ice bath soak. After slicing or chopping raw onions, immerse them in ice-cold water for around 10 to 15 minutes. Culinary experts say this helps soften the bite and reduce the strong aftertaste, making them more pleasant in salads, salsas, or raw garnishes. You can change the water once if you want an even milder flavor. Some cooking websites highlight how this trick is especially useful when you need to serve raw onions to guests who might not enjoy the pungent hit. Red onions, in particular, benefit from this method because they can be quite sharp. A quick rinse afterward ensures you're not leaving extra water in your dish. Grandma might have used this trick to make her raw, onion-laden potato salad more palatable, without sacrificing the overall crunch. The technique is also endorsed by many top chefs who want to control the onion's flavor in raw applications. It's such a simple step, yet it transforms the entire eating experience, reminiscent of how Grandma always had that knack for small adjustments that resulted in big improvements. If you've got the time and some ice cubes, this hack is worth trying. Number 8. Milk powder in baking. While many people focus on fresh dairy, Grandma knew the utility of milk powder for adding richness to baked goods without extra liquid. Modern baking experts have rediscovered this trick, emphasizing how a tablespoon or two of non-fat dry milk can improve browning and boost flavor in cookies, breads, or cakes. Food scientists explain that the extra lactose and proteins can enhance the Maillard reaction, leading to a more golden crust and a deeper taste. Recent articles on pastry forums mention that professional bakers often rely on dry milk to achieve consistency in products, and now home bakers are catching on. You can store milk powder for a long time without worrying about spoilage, making it more convenient than fresh milk if you only need small amounts. Another advantage is that it doesn't dilute your batter or dough, so you can maintain the intended texture and hydration level. Grandma might have used this technique whenever fresh milk was limited or to stretch her resources when the family was on a budget. These days, it doubles as a flavor enhancer that's easy to experiment with. If you're making brioche or a batch of chocolate chip cookies, try adding some dry milk and see how the final product pops with a subtle, rich sweetness. Number 9. Chilling cookie dough. Everyone talks about Grandma's cookies tasting the best, but an overlooked reason might be that she was more patient than modern bakers. Letting your cookie dough rest in the fridge, anywhere from a couple of hours to overnight, helps the flavors develop and the dough firm up, leading to thicker, chewier cookies. Some pastry professionals compare it to marinating meat. The sugar has time to fully dissolve, and the fats cool down, which prevents excessive spreading in the oven. Tests performed by popular baking blogs confirm that a 24-hour rest can significantly impact the taste and texture of the final product. If Grandma was in no rush, she might have left the dough in a cool pantry overnight. Today, we can seal it in plastic wrap and let the fridge do its job. This hack also allows you to prep cookie dough in advance and bake on a different day, a time saver for busy people who want fresh-baked cookies without the full mess. The difference in flavor might surprise you. People often describe chilled dough cookies as richer, with a more pronounced caramel or butterscotch tone. You can also freeze portioned balls of dough for up to a few months, baking exactly as many cookies as you need. Grandma would approve of any technique that yields better taste while also letting you plan ahead. Number 10. Freezer-friendly breakfast burritos. Quick, hearty breakfasts often get overlooked, but Grandma knew the power of a make-ahead meal. Creating a batch of breakfast burritos, wrapping them in foil or parchment, and freezing them is a modern extension of that mentality. You can fill tortillas with scrambled eggs, cheese, beans, leftover roasted potatoes, or even sautéed veggies. Then, wrap them tightly and store them in a freezer-safe container. Online meal prep guides say that these burritos can last up to 3 months if wrapped properly. Reheating is simple. Pop one in the microwave or oven, and you have a filling meal in minutes. It's become a go-to hack for busy adults, parents, or anyone wanting to avoid morning chaos. Some people add hot sauce or spinach for extra flavor and nutrients. Grandma might have used the same concept with homemade hand pies or pastries, freezing them for impromptu breakfasts. Today, it's adapted to popular burrito flavors, reflecting the global influences in many kitchens. The advantage is you control the ingredients, so there's no mystery about what you're eating first thing in the morning. It's also cost-effective compared to buying a daily breakfast on the go. If you wrap them well and label them with dates, you'll always know how fresh they are. Pair one with coffee, and you're set for a productive day ahead, all thanks to a little foresight that was second nature in older generations. Number 11. Homemade flavored salts. Grandma might have had jars of seasoned salt on hand, but we're taking it a step further with homemade blends. By mixing coarse salt with ingredients like fresh rosemary, smoked paprika, garlic, or chili flakes, you create a versatile seasoning that can elevate simple dishes. Start with a mortar and pestle or a small food processor, then blend until the flavors meld. Spread the mixture on a baking sheet and let it air dry, or place it in a low-temp oven to remove any moisture. Cooking websites love this hack because it simplifies last-minute seasoning. Just sprinkle and go. You can do a citrus-infused salt by grating lemon or orange zest, or a spicy version with chipotle powder. These custom salts look attractive in small jars, making them great homemade gifts. In Grandma's day, people might have done something similar using table salt and homegrown herbs, preserving them for use during winter when fresh herbs were scarce. Today, this approach aligns with the push towards artisanal and handcrafted condiments, giving your meals a personal touch. Keep a couple of varieties in your pantry, and you'll find yourself reaching for them to amp up everything from grilled chicken to popcorn. It's a small effort that yields a big payoff in taste, much like many of Grandma's old-school techniques. Number 12, the cornstarch slurry for crispy tofu. While tofu might not have been a staple in Grandma's kitchen decades ago, the principle of making a crispy coating from a simple starch mix is universal. For an extra crunchy exterior, toss drained tofu cubes in a mixture of cornstarch, salt, pepper, and optional spices like paprika or garlic powder. Let it sit for a few minutes to form a thin coating, then pan fry or bake until crispy. Food experts note that cornstarch creates a better crisp than flour for certain recipes because it absorbs more moisture and forms a tight seal around the tofu. This trick has gone viral on social media cooking channels because it also works for vegetables and proteins like chicken or fish. Grandma might have done something similar with chicken wings or cutlets using potato starch or flour, but cornstarch is considered a foolproof approach in many Asian cuisines. Adding just a little oil or a light spritz of cooking spray is often enough to get that golden finish in an oven. Some cooks also use arrowroot or potato starch with similar results. It's an easy, low-mess solution for a weeknight dinner, offering a crunchy contrast that pairs well with sauces or stir-fries. This technique shows how time-tested cooking methods can adapt to modern diets, proving once again that a bit of resourcefulness and simple ingredients can go a long way in the kitchen.